We all just had the opportunity of watching the documentary No Place to Call Home. All of you have joined us. First of all, from WBTV, from the bottom of my heart as a reporter, I just want to thank you, especially you three, for bearing it all and allowing us to capture this issue, because you all are what this is all about. And hopefully it shed a little bit of light on what's going on with the affordable housing crisis in Charlotte. But since you did just get to watch it, we'll start over here with Tanu. What'd you think?
I thought you guys did a really great job editing it.
Well, you don't have to like tell us that was good. Like, what was it like to watch your story?
Oh man, it was heartwarming and a little sad. But it definitely spoke my truth for sure. Like, he definitely got that point across. And it was just like, it just made it a little bit more real for me, even more. Like, this is really my situation. This is really where I'm at, and this is not where I want to be. Yeah.
Let's hand the mic on over to Velda. They were in the main studio watching the documentary on our big mega monitor, and I could see in the other room that Velda and Debbie, it was a bit of an emotional moment for you to watch.
Absolutely, it was really emotional, and even though I have shelter and I have a place to live, it was heart-wrenching to watch Debbie, you know. And sometimes, you know, we take things for granted, and you know, it was challenging. It was hard, and watching myself, and like Tanu said, you know, I was really telling my truth. When I say a half a paycheck, it's less than a half a paycheck, because back to back, July I had COVID. My client had COVID this month, so I'm struggling. I don't know what I'm going to do for my rent for September. So, you know, the struggle is really real. Yeah.
And so, Debbie, you let us in to some really private moments, and there was a reason you did that. Talk about why you allowed us to capture that.
Because I feel like I'm one of those people that fall in the cracks. Like, when I say fall in the crack, a lot of organizations that I have been introduced to, they're catering to women with kids, a certain amount of income, a certain age bracket, and they look at me like, it's nothing we can do for you. So.
We have City Councilman Malcolm Graham here. If you can hand the mic down the line. Let's talk about, you've been here a long time in Charlotte. You went to JCSU, so you came here as a young adult. How have you seen this crisis grow, and what are we doing about it?
Thank you for the opportunity to be here, and thank you for sharing your stories. We use the buzzword affordable housing, but there's people behind that word, and the crisis, as you indicated, is real. I came here in '81, and Charlotte was just a growing city, wanting to be a big city. Fast forward to 2022, it's the 15th largest city in the country. 121 individuals every day move to the city of Charlotte. All are looking for jobs, affordable housing. Units around Johnson C. Smith, when I was a student, sold for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. Today they're at $600,000. And so a lot of people are being priced out of fragile and threatened communities. A lot of folks who are working can't find jobs. And one of the things I really saw was the intersection between housing, workforce development, and transportation. You need all three. You need all three, and we need higher wages in the city of Charlotte. I don't want to lose individuals, like I said in this tape, to Concord or Kannapolis. I want them to live right here in Charlotte, where they can enjoy a great quality of life. And we've been doing a lot of work with the city of Charlotte. We got over 3,000 units in the pipeline, a $50 million bond referendum on the ballot in November. I encourage everyone to go out and vote for it. But even at that, $50 million is just a drop in the bucket in terms of the 32,000 units of affordable units that we need in our community. There is no microwave solutions. This is a marathon and not a sprint. But I think between the private sector and the government, that we got to find a solution to this problem.
If you can hand the microphone to Enlivian CEO Fulton Meacham. Yes. That trickles down to your everyday. You have people that have not only emergency housing vouchers, but the Housing Choice Voucher Program. How is this crisis affecting your ability to house people?
Well, tremendously. It's impacting us tremendously. But I just wanted to say how impressed I was with the truth that you told. It's the reason why Olivian wakes up every single day to try to help families just like you. It's truly touching. And we got to do better and find ways to find more housing for families. I mean, we are doing things like we are developing affordable housing. We have 1,000 units that'll be actually constructed by 2023. But I think we're talking about time in that process. That's a 3-year process, actually, to get units built, right? And so on top of that, what we're trying to do, too, is have supportive services around our families. But we have a limited number of vouchers, right? So we have these supportive services to help families with childcare, education, transportation. But again, that's only for individuals that have a housing choice voucher. And right, I said earlier that maybe only 1 out of 4 families that actually need the voucher actually can get it. And so, you know, we just got to keep working extremely hard to find opportunities for our families to live here in Charlotte, because we're pricing individuals out. You know, I'm very proud of Olivian from the standpoint of we went very hard at this source of income discrimination issue that was happening here that was really denying families that do qualify an opportunity to live, work, and play where they choose to, right? And so I think us touching on those and City Council voting this in, I want to thank Graham so much for that, because without that, I mean, those opportunities would never be available for our families. Those would be thousands of units that our families may never ever live in. So I think that's what we have to do. We have to challenge ourselves, right? Move beyond the status quo, right? And hear the stories that we have here that are people that are working every single day, right? Just like me and you. They're no different than us, right? And so we got to stop talking about them, and it's got to be about us, right?
And let's talk a little bit about that source of income discrimination ordinance that was passed by the City Council, I believe, in June, which would make any development that's taking public funds, they would have to accept vouchers. Right now, without that, is that a hurdle? Or actually, this is a good question for you, Tara, because you guys are seeing this a lot. Is there some type of discrimination when it comes to properties taking vouchers? Do you see that?
I don't take the word discrimination lightly. So what I'll say is this. There are a lot of ideas people have around using a voucher or households that have vouchers. And, you know, some of them, a lot of them are wrong or outdated. And so in a tight market like Charlotte's, it's fairly easy to be to go with a household that just pays their rent on their own rather than work with a program. A program does come with extra administrative burden, but there's a lot of benefits to working with a program, and there's a lot of fulfillment in working with program-connected tenants. So, you know, I would just say that it's too easy for property providers to be choosy right now, and new ordinances like the one that the City Council passed are going to be helpful.
You all are handling hundreds of cases. People like to know are currently in your pipeline. Talk, for people that don't know what the Housing Collaborative does, talk about what you all do.
Well, we basically help connect people to housing. We help make housing easier to navigate. It's very disheartening and overwhelming in a tight market, any market really, to navigate and to try to find a $900 unit in a market like Charlotte. And so it goes without saying that folks need help. And, you know, most of us got help at some point in our life. So we're here to help with finding the housing. We don't have, you know, loads and loads of money to help pay for your housing, but we can try to help you navigate the system to find it. And we develop relationships with property providers who are willing to work with program-connected tenants, so that we're not just sending you out there cold without knowing whether a landlord is going to work with you or not.
And you had a poignant soundbite at the end of the piece that said this crisis can feel very overwhelming, like there's nothing that a person who's watching can do, but there are things that they can do, especially if you own a rental property, correct?
That's right. So we're in a city where the City Council and we have a board of county commissioners who are supportive of affordable housing. It's on each of us individually to also be supportive of affordable housing and people who need it. The very easiest thing I can think of off the top of my mind is voting yes to the affordable housing bond referendum on November 8th. So easy to do that. It funds the Housing Trust Fund. The Housing Trust Fund is used to create affordable units and to preserve affordable units, like the Housing Impact Fund that we saw in the video. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do is, be yourself a personal advocate in your neighborhood. Join your neighborhood association. Developers come there seeking permission or support, really, for a property they're proposing. If they're proposing all market rate units, ask them if they'd be willing to voluntarily include some affordable housing units. That's not a pie in the sky idea. The Belmont neighborhood that I live in, the community association has convinced landlords to offer a few units of affordable housing anytime they come into our neighborhood for support. The next thing I would say is, if you have even one property, consider working with us, the Housing Collaborative, to manage. If you're nervous about the process of working with a program, we will help you navigate that process and try to make it easier for you to accept a tenant who's connected with a program. Or if you even know a landlord, ask them if they've heard about us and would be willing to work with us and give it a shot.
I want to move, and we have all these resources on our website, all the links to these organizations if you want to get involved. But let's pass the mic over to Ed Smith with Running Works, a nonprofit that's very close to my heart for years and years. And you have a personal connection with all of these people, all the characters that we saw in our piece, but now friends of mine. You're a case manager. You've been making calls to try to get, you were one of the reasons that Will got in a place. You made hundreds of calls for him. What is it like for you in your perspective watching their stories, but also the success stories that we hope eventually we see here?
Yeah, I guess it is a struggle. It's a struggle every day, because the process takes so long. If we can figure out a way where we can make the process a little easier for these people, because it's easier for the everyday person to say, to get up and go to work. But if you're homeless, chronically homeless, living in the streets, that's difficult. And, and that's when a lot of people give up easy, especially if they don't have the support, because, they 3 times the rent, rental history, criminal record, all these barriers that they may not have. Are you working? No, I'm not working right now because I'm homeless, and to convince, people to, hey, this person really needs help. And I think once they get housing, a lot of, that pressure comes off. But with Mr. Howard, it took, about a year process, and a person can really, go deeper into a black hole, waiting on that, because especially, when the excitement comes for the process when it first starts, it's like, you're filling out the paperwork and then you're feeling, the butterflies inside saying, okay, I'm getting ready to get housing. And then a year later, so the process should be shortened, or how because these people, the frustration is at a high tense level. And I have to work with these people every day to help them get through these stressors. So, it takes a village, to help us get through these processes. So it can be difficult. But, through it all, this is why we're here today, to talk about these things, to get it out there, and let Charlotte know this is part of Charlotte, the homeless population. And we can do a lot more, and I think we can do better with fixing some of the homeless population in Charlotte.
Tanu, how do you not get frustrated?
Oh, man. Well, I'm not going to lie. Here's how I don't show my frustration. I try to think of positive, the little good things in life. I lean on my support system. I have some of them here with me today. Thank you all for being here. And I lean a lot on Running Works, even though I be low-key cursing Ed out, because I'm so, and I just told him this the other day, like, my stress level is so freaking high, Ed. I cannot always come here with a smile on my face, like I am in a situation. So, like, meet me where I'm at, bro, So really, I just, like, take all my frustrations at Running Works and then go out into the world, happy as a butterfly, So, yeah, I hide it. I sing it away, and I pray for the best.
We haven't asked Abraham a question down here. We just got a few more, then we'll wrap this up. You have overcome a lot, and you have housing. You live in an apartment. Tell me about that stereotype that's sometimes put on the homeless population and what you want people to know about that.
Basically what I want people to know that, you know, the glass may be full, but when you see them, it's really empty inside, you know what I mean? And I feel that, you know, since I've been in Charlotte in the last 8 years, you know, I came through the men's shelter of Charlotte, lived there for 6 months, and then I ran into Running Works. And it's like, when I see the people that's out here that need mental health, like when you go out to the wall, you know, those people are not bad people. You know, they just need somebody to go out there and talk to them. Look, we got this right here. Do you need help? You know what I mean? And when you come to the bigger picture, I look at corporate America as a solution. You know, I feel like this, either you're part of the problem or you're part of the solution. Okay? So corporate America needs to also not just come to Charlotte, just build all these buildings, and really most of those buildings are not even, you know, vacant. You know, to the point where, all right, you got all these big buildings, but who's actually living in there? Nobody. Okay, so Debbie, this person right here, like what Ed go through, I go through the same thing Ed go through. Okay, and they come to the front door at me first. Then I send them to Ed. So it's like, you know, we have to be more patient and realize that, you know, this is not a racial thing. This is not none of that. You know, anybody could become homeless. I don't care how much money you got. Because when you look at the price of living nowadays, it's going higher and higher and higher. Just because they build a big building, I got to pay all this money to live in, you know? And then you got to look at the electric, gas, water. All these things come into focus. So I hope, where's the camera at?
Two of them.
Corporate America, y'all got the power, you got the money, okay? Help out a little bit, okay? Just don't come here and build things. Just have a little empathy within your hearts and give people jobs that they can afford to live. Thank you.
Let's give him a round of applause and then pass the mic down to the councilman. You were nodding your head. This is a city built, as we said, on banking, on prosperity. Is the community, is the business community doing enough?
I think we all own this problem. Last year, as many remember, we had a tent city on the edge of uptown, and the corporate community, along with the city and the county, who provide the mental health service, the wraparound service, all came together, and we met for over a year, and we came up with a Home for All, which is a comprehensive homeless study, and then we forward that information to the United Way, and the city and the county and the corporate community are all investing millions of dollars into it to ensure that we have a strategy in place to impact homelessness in our community. I think the commercial for the $50 million bond referendum in November, which was great. We need you to vote for that. But the corporate community matched that 3 years ago and provided $50 million for affordable housing. So we had over $100 million for affordable housing. Not nearly enough. We need about 30,000 units. This problem, I wish I can go to my microwave and put it in and press 1 minute and it's done. It's a slow cooker. We have to meet people where they are. We have to make sure that they have the type of services that they need, whether it's a living wage job, not a job, a job that pays a living wage so they can afford an apartment, reliable transportation, a bus system that works. I told the story that when I was a student at Smith, I worked at Eastland Mall. If I had to be to work at 9 o'clock, that meant I had to leave my apartment at 7. It's a 2-hour bus ride.
And we're still seeing
and we're
the same
we're
rate?
still staying there. So it's really about jobs, which is a living wage, reliable transportation, and housing. No job, no housing. No job, no quality education. No job, no reliable transportation. It all starts with a job that pays a living wage so that people who want to call Charlotte home can stay here and live with dignity and grace and peace. We all deserve that.
Fulton, the people that are waiting like to know they have vouchers in hand, but they can't use them. The people who are on that waiting list, and I know it's gone down significantly over the years, but I mean, what's your message to them?
This is a slow process. We stepped out and started to develop affordable housing because we knew that just finding housing in the marketplace wasn't going fast enough, right? And because of individuals being denied affordable housing because of source of income discrimination, we said if we build it, we know that individuals will be able to stay there. But I said before, 3-year process. It's difficult for me to hear the stories and ask somebody to be patient because I don't know how to do that. The strength I see is beyond belief, right? But I just think we have to continue to push forward. We have some fantastic organizations. Continue to work with them, continue to work with us, stay in contact with us. I know sometimes that paperwork is difficult, right? But sometimes we need to get that paperwork to kind of pull through, right? Lean on those supportive services agencies that are here to help you to get that information in as quickly as possible so you can get on that list. Because it's very important to get on the list, right? And so that's the key. Let's get on the list and let's work this process to get you housing as quickly as possible. Thank you.
I'm going to end this conversation with Velda and Debbie. Velda, I'll ask you guys the same question. I mean, what do you want people to know? What do you want their biggest takeaway from this special to be?
What I would like for me, the biggest takeaway is that this is real and it's not a joke. And it's really challenging and it's hard. And Ed can tell you when I was going through my process, it was, although I was able to get into a brand new senior building and where it's income based, but still a year after I was there the rent went up, you know, and I was like, oh my God, you know, everybody else in the apartment went up $15. I went up $25, and I couldn't understand why I went up more than, I mean, it's $10 difference, but why did I, you know, have to do that? And Mr. Graham talked about affordable wage. I ended up in my situation because of health issues, not because of anything, you know, necessarily that I had done, and to have an affordable wage for me, I'm 60. You know, I'm behind the 8 ball because I had a lot of health challenges. So what do I do to play catch up? You know, so those are some of the things.
Debbie, we'll end with you. Your story is one of those that will stick with me, I think, for the rest of my life, and the fact that you were willing to be as honest and candid is, I can never tell you how grateful we are, but I think it will make an impact. We've had these conversations already. But you have a powerful story because you are working hard. You get up every morning. She says every morning her alarm is set for 4:30. I went out there and I saw it. And she was chipper, happy to go to work. I mean, it was pretty incredible and puts a lot of things in perspective to watch. But you're working hard and you're still struggling. You get the last word on this because I think you bared the most. What do you want people at home to know about you and the people who are in your situation?
First of all, never judge a book by its cover. In the kind words of my team member, Velda Harper, you're one paycheck away from being homeless. What does homeless look like? Y'all look at me every day. I don't look homeless, do I? But there's programs, nonprofits like Running Works. This is courtesy of Running Works. I just say, keep friends like this. Keep friends like this around. Because I vented to Ed, Tanu. Just try to stay positive because it's hard. And it's a mental struggle and people don't understand. Just pray for us. Don't think that we're begging. I go to work every morning. I work hard. I get up early. It's days I walk all night long. Don't get sleep. But guess what? I want housing. And I want it. I deserve it. It's my turn. I can't give up now. I want to. I really do. But that's where America comes together, because it's not a Charlotte thing. This is a worldwide thing of homelessness. And everybody needs to come together, and this needs to end.
I don't think there's a better way to end it than those words, and that we always remember, not to stereotype, not to judge, because we are all, like you said, one paycheck away, one lost job from being in the same situation. I want to thank all of you for inviting us in and bearing so much, and for you two for allowing us to ask endless questions about solutions. We have an endless amount of resources on our website, WBTV.com. You can find out how to get involved with the Housing Collaborative. If you're a rental owner, you can find out how to get involved in Running Works. There are plenty of other resources. This is still a crisis. It will continue to be a crisis, but I hope conversations like this continue, and it's because of you. And I'm just very grateful for each and every one of you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks for watching.